certainly here to make a point of talking to each of you before the day is out. A mere 37 years after Chapter 425 of the Laws of 1886 was enacted, and you may not know what that is, but that was the statute that allowed women to become lawyers in this state. 37 years after that, Bella Maisel graduated from UB Law School. She was only 19. She was one of 6 women in her class, which is 3 women more than I had in my class, and that's really rather astonishing to me. But there were 6 women in her class. At 19, she was too young to be admitted, so she had to wait another 2 years in order to meet that level of the ladder and embark in her career in the law. Now, in 1925, 2 years later, she entered the professional stage in the midst of the Roaring Twenties. And think about that. Lon Chaney was terrifying moviegoers as the Phantom of the Opera, a silent film. Charlie Chaplin was cooking leather and producing Dancing Potatoes, a silent film. And if you knew Susie, like I know Susie, the St. Louis Blues were at the top of the charts, together with Sweet Georgia Brown. Grand Ole Opry premieres that year. The Great Gatsby and Kafka's Trial and The Unflappable Jeeves were bestsellers that year. Edna Ferber won the Pulitzer Prize for So Big. George Bernard Shaw won the Nobel Prize in Literature. The Pirates won the series. Red Grange signed with the Chicago Bears. And Madison Square Garden hosted its very first professional hockey game between the Montreal Canadiens and the New York Americans. Billy Mitchell was court-martialed. Trotsky was out. Mussolini and Hitler were in. That's really kind of scary. Mein Kampf was published that year. And the U.S. Supreme Court decided Gitlow versus New York. Some of you may not know what that case was, but it was a very important case. It extended the protection of the Bill of Rights to the states. The states had to be sure that its citizens were protected by the Bill of Rights. And as Bella entered her new profession, with all this swirling around her, her new colleagues, Clarence Darrow and William Jennings Bryan, were duking it out in a Tennessee courtroom which the press called the monkey trial. What an exciting time to enter the practice of law, and what an exciting time for Bella and her classmate, Dorothy Anthony, to make a very audacious move, a gutsy move, and they opened their own office. 2 women partners, if not the first women partnership in the state of New York. It probably was at least one of the first. Some years later, Rose Lamondola and Clara Taylor opened a women partnership in the Liberty Bank building, and we thought they were the first, but they were not. Bella was right there way before them. But notwithstanding all of that, it was still a man's world, and in the legal profession, it was very much a man's world. Women lawyers were a mere 1.4% of the practicing bar of the nation, and so it was certainly no place for any shrinking violet. To succeed, a woman had to be determined, unafraid, uncowed, tenacious, and Bella was all of those. After many years of practice with her classmate, Dorothy Anthony, in 1954, Bella joined Cohen and Lombardo, and in 1957 became a partner among the first of women partners in the nation. The following year, Maryann Saccomando Freedman graduated from law school, and I'm sure they can do the math, Dick. And